cruise control problems.
My top.
Yeah. I get a lot of complaints about cruise control, especially on the Mercedes W123, 126, and 201 series. And while this is a big topic, we could talk about quickly where the problems tend to come up. And if one problem doesn't fix it, where the next one could be lying. So, number one thing is the amplifier. The amplifier is the weakest part of the cruise control system, and it's underneath the driver's side dashboard on the 123 and 126 series, and under the passenger side footwell on the W201 series, and on the W124 series it's also underneath the dash. Now the cruise control amplifier is mounted on a bracket. You remove the whole bracket when you're taking it out and exchanging the amplifier. How do you know if the amplifier is bad? Well, if you have these symptoms: total inactivity, surging, cruise control cutting out randomly, or intermittent operation of the cruise control, usually the amplifier is at fault. By usually I mean about 95% of the time. On the other hand, if the cruise control engages but it slowly loses power, or if the cruise control seems to engage at a higher speed but then slowly drops down to a lower speed in cars that have an electrical cruise control actuator, which from the 126 series was day 1 and on the 123 series was 82 and on, then you may be dealing with a bad cruise control actuator. These actuators are quite expensive, but thankfully they don't fail very often. Now there's some discussion about a bad actuator creating the voltage overload inside the amplifier and burning it up. I would say that there are a lot of detailed tests for the actuator online, but I usually don't find the actuator destroying amplifiers. I find that most amplifiers are just poorly rebuilt to begin with. Now, where do I get my cruise control amplifiers? Well, I like to buy from Beckman Technologies. I do buy from Programma through their World Pack program, and they've actually supplied decent units. And, you know, there are some independent rebuilders out there that are also doing a good job. I would say, though, that the amplifiers have to have all the electrolytic capacitors on their circuit boards replaced to work right. Now here's some other fluke problems. If you have an R107 chassis, which also has the cruise control amplifier under the dash, and a 126 chassis, which has an electronic speedometer, any Mercedes really that's equipped with an electronic speedometer has a cruise control sensor in its circuit board. And sometimes the circuit board can suffer a failure, or the soldering joints can crack, disrupting the signal to the cruise control, which makes it inoperative. If you've replaced an amplifier and you're still not getting anything, that's the next place that you need to go. Anyway, finally, on older vacuum-operated cruise controls, which were 81 and earlier on the 123, all 116 and all pre-1980 R107 series cars, you need to make sure that you don't have any vacuum leaks and that the cruise control cable to the throttle linkage is properly adjusted. These also have an amplifier, and the amplifier can go bad as well. So, for more questions in your Mercedes cruise control system, please drop us a line. If you really need help with it, then Classic Benz SOS is your go-to resource. And finally, consider supporting us in Patreon so that we can continue to make this a great channel. Please like us and share us, and enjoy driving your Mercedes-Benz.